In the summer of 2018, Juventus completed a transaction with Real Madrid. The top-line figure reported was a €117 million transfer fee. That fee was only the entry price. The club also committed to a €30 million net annual salary over a 4-year contract, all for an asset who was already 33 years old. Fans and sports media celebrated the arrival of one of the greatest athletes in history. Inside the boardroom, executives had just signed off on a highly leveraged corporate liability. Top-tier football clubs operate as global entertainment entities. Their operational strategies are driven by the absolute need to maximize shareholder value, expanding profit margins far beyond ticket sales and matchday merchandise. Factoring in gross wages, agent fees, and the initial capital outlay, the true aggregate cost of this 4-year commitment pushed to roughly €340 million. To understand how a single football club absorbs a cost that massive, we have to examine their amortization schedules, their compliance with strict financial regulations, and their strategy to close a massive commercial revenue gap. The board executed an aggressive merger and acquisition strategy designed to permanently elevate the club's financial ceiling. Breaking down the €117 million acquisition cost reveals a base fee of €100 million, €5 million allocated for FIFA solidarity payments, and an additional €12 million in agent charges. In corporate accounting, this $117 million is not expensed entirely in year 1. Through a process called player amortization, the cost is spread evenly across the 4-year duration of his contract, resulting in an annual accounting expense of €29.25 million. Add that amortization to a gross annual wage cost of roughly €56 million, and the total financial impact hits €85 million per year. That single asset immediately consumed 21% of Juventus's total staff costs. This sudden spike in expenses introduces a severe regulatory barrier, UEFA's financial fair play regulations, specifically the break-even rule. Under these rules, clubs are restricted to a maximum accumulated loss of €30 million over 3 financial years. Additionally, they must maintain a maximum negative balance of €100 million between the acquisition and disposal of players in a given season. Taking on an €85 million annual deficit threatens to breach these limits, exposing the club to severe financial sanctions and potential exclusion from Europe. To finance this move without violating regulations, Juventus had to execute immediate asset disposals, selling off current players to recognize an immediate accounting profit. By offloading a top earner like Gonzalo Higuain, the club could generate an estimated €56 to €66 million through a combination of salary savings and the profit realized from his disposal. The board cannibalized their existing sporting talent strictly to ensure they remained within the legal limits of European financial regulations while absorbing their new megastar. Investing €340 million into a single biological asset carries extreme volatility, especially for a 33-year-old subjected to the physical trauma of elite sports. This is a document outlining specialized sports personal accident risk transfer solutions. To protect their balance sheet, the club must secure 3 specific tiers of insurance coverage. The first tier is accidental death and permanent total disability. If the player suffers an injury or illness that prevents him from ever playing professionally again, this policy allows the club to write off the asset value completely. The second tier covers naturally caused death, with premiums driven heavily by the athlete's age and existing medical baseline. The third tier is temporary total disability, or income protection. This ensures the club's contractual salary obligations are covered during periods of injury, a protection that is heavily scrutinized under Italian labor regulations. Because of the player's age and massive compensation package, insurers view this as a high-risk policy. The estimated total annual cost for these premiums runs between €3 and €5 million. Human capital at this tier of elite football requires corporate risk transfer mechanisms on a scale unheard of in traditional industries. With the cost structure mapped out, the club has to generate immediate revenue to justify the investment. They start with the stadium. Juventus instituted an aggressive 30% increase on season ticket prices, a move designed to instantly capture an additional €10 million in guaranteed matchday income. They also project variable broadcasting payouts from the UEFA Champions League, where deeper runs in the tournament yield exponentially higher television rights distributions. Yet even with steep ticket hikes and deep tournament runs, matchday and broadcasting income cannot offset the balance sheet. The entire financial justification rests on commercial exploitation. This radar chart maps the commercial revenues of elite European clubs. The blue line illustrates a massive commercial revenue gap separating Juventus from the world's most profitable teams. In the 2016-17 season, Juventus recorded 120 million euros in commercial revenue. By comparison, Manchester United reported 320 million euros. This graphic shows the specific disparity in jersey value. Between their kit supplier and main shirt sponsor, Juventus generated 40 million euros, while Manchester United's jersey deals yielded 156 million euros. Acquiring the most recognizable athlete on the planet provides an immediate, high-leverage bargaining tool to force renegotiations with their existing sponsors, Adidas and Jeep. It also opens up entirely new licensing agreements and regional partnerships across Asia and North America, markets where the club previously lacked a strong foothold. The 340 million euro outlay functions as a weaponized branding strategy, a direct attempt to bridge a 200 million euro commercial gap with global competitors. On the balance sheet, this transfer fee functions as a massive customer acquisition cost for a digital platform. Before the transfer, the entire Juventus organization had 55 million followers across social media. The new asset brought an individual audience of 332 million followers. That audience provides instant brand penetration into highly populated markets. Data shows intense concentrations of these new followers located directly in Indonesia, Brazil, and India. This demographic shift represents millions of engaged individuals, like this Indonesian fanbase, who are now integrated into the club's commercial ecosystem. The board calculates this as a 2 to 3 year capital expenditure cycle. The goal is to aggressively monetize this new audience and push the club to a €500 million annual turnover. The business model shifts away from selling finite physical assets like stadium seats and billboard space toward monetizing a boundless, digitized global audience. The player is the ultimate catalyst for the organization's transformation from a regional sports club into a digitized global entertainment empire.